but his salary keeps the lights on at home. And that's cute. That's what my wife said about me. On a stage, into a microphone, at her high school reunion, the room filled with laughter at my expense. She thought she had won, that this was the moment she finally proved to everyone she'd outgrown me. But as I stood up from my table and started walking toward that stage, her condescending smile began to fade. She wanted to make a fool out of me, but she forgot I knew all about her little side hustle. So I took the mic from her hand and revealed her secret to the entire room. The laughter stopped, and every single person in that ballroom stared in absolute shock. This story is a wild ride, and trust me, you won't see the ending coming. So make sure you subscribe, because you don't want to miss how this all went down. Our story doesn't start with a bang, but with a piece of fancy cardstock, an invitation. It was for my wife Laura's 10-year high school reunion, and it turned out to be the catalyst that would end our 8-year marriage in the most public way you can imagine. For 8 years, I genuinely thought we had it all. At least a version of it all that I was perfectly happy with. We met in my last year of college. I was studying to be a civil engineer, and Laura was this vibrant, electric personality working at a local boutique. She was hilarious, sharp, and could make a boring Tuesday feel like an adventure. I fell for her fast and hard. After I graduated and landed a stable job with the city, we got married. We bought a nice, comfortable house, the kind with a small yard perfect for a dog, and we thought, eventually, kids. I loved my job. It wasn't glamorous. I get it. I wasn't working for some flashy tech startup or a high-powered law firm. I designed public infrastructure, roads, bridges, water systems. It was quiet, essential work that gave us a good life, a steady income, and the kind of security I always valued. Laura worked a few different jobs in retail and marketing for the first few years, but she started to get restless. About 2 years before the reunion, she announced she was quitting her job to find her passion. I told her to go for it. My salary was more than enough to cover everything, and all I wanted was for her to be happy. At first, it seemed like she was really enjoying the freedom. She took a pottery class, started a blog about interior design, and even talked about flipping furniture, but nothing ever stuck. The pottery wheel gathered dust in the corner. The blog posts trickled to a stop, and a half-sanded dresser sat in our garage for months. I never said a word. I figured she just needed time. I was wrong. She wasn't looking for a passion. She was looking for an audience. When the reunion invitation showed up, something inside her just switched. A frantic energy I hadn't seen in years took over. It wasn't just excitement, it was an obsession. All of a sudden, our life wasn't good enough. My job wasn't impressive enough. *I* wasn't enough. The reunion became her entire world. She spent hours glued to her phone, scrolling through the profiles of old classmates with this weird, competitive look in her eyes. "Oh my God, look at Tiffany," she'd say, shoving the phone in my face. "She married a surgeon. They live in this huge house in California." Or, "Remember Mark from the football team? He started his own investment firm. He's basically a millionaire." I just smile and say, "That's nice, honey," which was never the right answer. Nice, it's not nice, Mark. It's what successful people do. They don't just settle for stable. The way she said stable made it sound like a disease. Then came the spending. New dresses showed up almost every day, each one more expensive and revealing than the last. She booked appointments for hair, nails, and a bunch of cosmetic treatments I'd never even heard of. When I tried to gently bring up our budget, she'd just wave her hand. "Don't worry about it," she'd say with this breezy confidence. "I have my own money now, a little side hustle." I was actually thrilled. "That's awesome. What is it, your blog?" She'd just smirk, something like that. "It's my little secret. You wouldn't get it." Her phone, which used to be left lying around anywhere, was now permanently attached to her hand. She'd angle the screen away from me and spend hours laughing at messages from people I didn't know. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and see the glow of her screen as she typed away, a secretive smile on her face. She started making little jabs at me, like she was testing the waters. "It must be so relaxing," she said one night while I was looking over city blueprints, "to have a job where you don't have to worry about your image." Another time, trying on a tight, sequin dress, she looked at my reflection behind hers and said, "I just want to show everyone I didn't peak in high school, that I didn't just end up with some boring, small-town life." Each comment was like a paper cut, small on its own, but together, they were bleeding me dry. A cold knot of dread started to form in my stomach. She wasn't just going to a reunion. She was preparing for a coronation, and I was being cast as the jester. Section 2, the unraveling and the plan. The moment it all came crashing down wasn't some big, dramatic confrontation. It was a laptop left open. Laura had gone out on one of her mysterious errands, leaving her brand new laptop on the dining room table. An email notification popped up. The subject line read, "Payment processed. Your monthly earnings have been deposited." The sender wasn't a company I recognized. It was a payment processor, the kind often used for online creator platforms. My heart started pounding, her little side hustle. She'd been so secretive, so dismissive. A part of me knew I should just close the laptop and respect her privacy. But the last few months of her condescending comments and weird behavior flashed through my mind. I felt like a stranger in my own house. I had to know. With my hands shaking, I clicked the email open. The number I saw was staggering. It was more than I made in 3 months. My mind was racing. What kind of side hustle pays like this? Was she some kind of secret stock market genius? An online consultant for a huge brand? That hope was quickly replaced by a sickening feeling when I saw a link in the email. View your creator dashboard. I clicked it. The page that loaded felt like a punch straight to the gut. It was an OnlyFans creator portal. Her profile picture was a professional, sultry photo of her I'd never seen. The username was a flirty version of her name. The banner image was a collage of pictures, some blurry, some just showing a bit of lingerie, a bare leg, a seductive smile. It was her, there was no doubt. I literally couldn't breathe. My hands went ice cold. This wasn't happening. It had to be a prank, a virus something, but the dashboard was all there, subscriber counts, monthly earnings, direct message stats. I clicked into the file manager where creators keep their content. And there it was, hundreds of photos and dozens of videos. Pictures of her in our bedroom, on the very bed we shared. Videos of her talking to the camera, calling anonymous fans pet names, thanking them for gifts. I couldn't look at much. Each thumbnail was a fresh stab of betrayal. The shock was physical, my stomach churned, and I thought I was going to be sick. It wasn't just what she was doing. It was the sheer scale of the deception. The expensive dresses, the secret texts, the dismissive attitude. It all clicked into place with horrifying clarity. She wasn't just hiding a secret. She was living a double life, bankrolled by selling an intimate version of herself to strangers online. The woman who looked down on my boring but honest work was funding her new lifestyle by performing for anonymous men. The worst part, this wasn't about money. We were fine, this was about her ego. It was about the validation she craved, the kind she felt my quiet, steady love couldn't give her. She wanted an army of adoring fans, and she'd found one. I just sat there for an hour, staring at the screen in a daze. The hurt was massive, this deep, hollow ache in my chest, but as the shock started to fade, something else bubbled to the surface. Cold, hard anger. She looked at me, at the life we built, and decided it wasn't good enough. She was building this fantasy world where she was a goddess, all while planning to parade me around at her reunion as her sad, unimpressive husband. She was going there to humiliate me, to frame me as the before picture in her glamorous new life. And that's when I knew exactly what I had to do. Confronting her now would be pointless. She'd lie, she'd gaslight me. She'd somehow twist it so I was the bad guy for looking at her laptop. No, she wanted a public spectacle. She wanted an audience for her big moment. Fine, I'd give her one. The humiliation she was planning for me. I was going to hand it right back to her. I didn't close the laptop. I started digging. I downloaded a few of the tamer, but still unmistakable, photos from her account, ones that clearly showed her face. I copied the public URL to her profile. I took screenshots of her earnings. I gathered my ammunition, not for a messy divorce battle, but for a very public final act. A strange calm settled over me. For the next week, I played the part. I told her the dress looked great. I listened while she practiced the jokes she planned to make at my expense. I was a ghost in my own house, watching her get ready for a party that I knew would be the end of us. She thought she was in control. She had no idea she was walking right into a trap she'd set for herself. The reunion was in the grand ballroom of a fancy hotel, exactly as pretentious as Laura had hoped. The place was thick with the smell of expensive perfume and quiet desperation as people sized each other up. Laura was in her element, floating through the room like a queen, dragging me behind her like some accessory she was slightly embarrassed of. "Everyone, this is my husband. Mark," she'd say, her voice a perfect mix of fake affection and subtle apology. "He's an engineer for the city. So stable." She'd give my arm a little patronizing squeeze, and her old friends would give me a polite, pitying smile before turning back to her. I just smiled and nodded, playing my part. I was the boring rock she was using to show how high she could fly. The night dragged on. Finally, the organizer gets up to the microphone. "And now," he announced, "we'd like to invite our reunion committee queen, Laura, to say a few words." Laura practically glided to the stage, beaming under the spotlight. She started with the usual thank yous. Then her eyes landed right on me. "I especially want to thank my dear husband, Mark, for being here tonight," she said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. The room quieted down. "It's just so wonderful that he could take a night off from his blueprints." A few of her friends giggled. "He keeps our city running, and we're all grateful. It's not a life of private jets and corner offices like some of us aimed for, but his salary keeps the lights on at home, and that's cute." The laughter was louder this time. The public shaming she'd been working up to for weeks had finally arrived. My face was burning, but inside, I was ice cold. This was my cue. As the laughter died down, I stood up and started walking toward the stage. A confused murmur went through the crowd. Laura's smile faltered. "Mark, what are you doing?" She whispered into the mic, but everyone heard it. I reached the stage and gently took the microphone from her stunned hand. I looked out at the sea of curious faces. "Hello, everyone," I began, my voice perfectly steady. "Laura is right, my job isn't glamorous. I work for the city, I make a decent, honest living, but she's wrong about one thing. It's not my salary that's been paying for her new wardrobe, her expensive trips, or this newfound confidence." I paused, letting that hang in the air. The room was dead silent. Laura was staring at me, her face pale with a look of dawning horror. "You see," I continued, pulling my phone from my pocket, "Laura has been incredibly successful with her own side hustle. She's a real online entrepreneur. She's built an impressive following and makes a very, very good living. In fact, I'm so proud of her work. I think everyone should see it." I tapped my phone a couple of times, and the huge projector screen behind the stage flickered to life. It had been showing a slideshow of old yearbook photos. Now it was showing my phone screen. On it was her OnlyFans profile page. Her suggestive profile picture, 10 feet tall. Her username clear as day for everyone to see. A collective gasp swept through the ballroom. It was immediately followed by a frantic storm of whispers as dozens of people pulled out their own phones. You could feel the energy in the room snap from smug amusement to shocked, hungry curiosity. I saw her parents in the corner. Her mother's hand flew to her mouth, and her father's face was just a mask of pure disbelief. I turned back to Laura. All the color had drained from her face. Her perfect smile was gone, replaced by a twisted look of pure panic. The queen had just been dethroned. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. All the condescension and smugness had evaporated, leaving only raw, unfiltered humiliation. I didn't need to say another word. I leaned into the microphone one last time. "So let's give a round of applause for Laura," I said into the dead silence, "for finally finding her passion." I placed the microphone down on the lectern. Then I took off my wedding ring, the simple gold band I'd worn for 8 years, and set it right next to the mic. I didn't look back at her. I walked off the stage, through the stunned crowd, and straight out the ballroom doors. The cool night air hit my face, and for the first time in months, I felt like I could actually breathe again. That was 6 months ago. The fallout, from what I've heard, was immediate and total. Her parents were mortified, her friends, the same ones who were laughing at me moments earlier, scattered. Apparently, a video of the whole thing went locally viral. I filed for divorce the very next day. She didn't fight me on a single thing. I moved into a new apartment across town. I threw myself into my work, reconnected with my friends, and slowly started putting my life back together. I have no idea what happened with her OnlyFans account, and honestly, I don't care. The revenge was never about her money. It was about getting my dignity back. She wanted to make me the punchline of her life story. She just forgot I was the one holding the pen. I'm in a much better place now. I've found a sense of peace I didn't even realize was gone. I'm no longer a supporting character in someone else's drama. I'm the main character in my own life. So now I have to ask you, what would you have done? Was I right to expose her like that? Or did I go too far? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want to hear more stories about justice getting served, make sure you like this and subscribe. You won't regret it.